After she got into it with her guy best friend, she pulled me aside and hit me with, "You need to apologize to him or we're through." I just stared at her confused. Then she followed it up with, "He was here before you and he matters more than you do." I didn't say a thing. Just walked to my car, got in, and drove off. 3 days later, she was standing outside my apartment in tears, begging me to forgive her. Look, I'm no writer, so bear with me here. I never imagined I'd be sharing this online, but after everything that's gone down lately, I feel like I need an outside opinion. To give you the full picture, I'm 43, work as a general contractor, been divorced for 6 years now. I've got a teenage daughter who lives with her mom. For just over a year, I've been seeing a woman named Rachel. She's 39. We met while I was remodeling the coffee shop she manages. One of those meet-cute stories, you know, she'd bring me coffee, we'd shoot the breeze during my breaks, and eventually I asked her out. From day one, we clicked. Same kind of humor, both big on hiking and the outdoors, both been married before and not too eager to go down that road again. Things were good, comfortable, steady, but never dull. Or at least, that's what I thought until Ryan showed up in the picture. Ryan's 41 and he's been Rachel's best friend since college. According to her, they dated briefly during sophomore year but decided they were better off as friends. Been thick as thieves ever since. He was her man of honor at her wedding, helped her through her divorce. He's pretty much a permanent fixture in her life. I've seen plenty of Ryan over the past year, game nights, cookouts, birthdays. He's always been fine. Not exactly warm, but never outright rude either. Mostly he just watches me. Like he's trying to figure out if I'm worthy of Rachel or something. I've tried making small talk, getting to know him, but he keeps his distance, polite but guarded. Then came the night everything went sideways. Last weekend, Rachel threw a small dinner party at her place. Nothing formal, just steaks on the grill, a few friends, drinks. I got there early to help set up. Ryan was already there, hanging around her kitchen like it was his own place, mixing cocktails and giving her tips on seasoning. I didn't think much of it, they've always been close. Everything was smooth at first. Good food, easy conversation. But after dinner, we all moved out to the back deck and someone brought up politics. Yeah, always a risky topic. Turned out Ryan and I are on totally opposite sides of the fence. Not radical or anything, just very different views. We kept it civil, but it was clear we didn't see eye to eye. I wasn't trying to start anything, just shared my opinion when someone asked. But every time I made a point, Ryan would glance at Rachel like he was waiting for her to correct me. When she didn't, his responses started getting sharper, more sarcastic. Eventually, after one particularly smug comment, I said, "Look, man, we can disagree without getting snippy. We're all adults here." You'd think I punched him in the face. His face turned beet red and he turned to Rachel. "You're just gonna let him talk to me like that?" Before she could say anything, I cut in. "I'm talking to you, not her. And all I'm asking for is a little respect." Ryan stood up with his drink still in hand. "You don't know a damn thing," he said. "Never have." Then he looked at Rachel and added, "And you know it. You're just too kind to say it out loud." I turned to Rachel, expecting her to step in, maybe calm things down or at least not pick sides. Instead, she stared at Ryan like he was about to explode, nervous and unsure. "Ryan, he didn't mean anything by it," she said, her voice soft and careful. "The hell I didn't," I shot back. "I meant every word. We can disagree without turning nasty." The whole deck went quiet. Everyone looked awkward. Ryan set his drink down slowly and said, "I'm out of here. Call me later, Rach." Then he walked through the house and slammed the front door behind him. Rachel jumped up and followed him inside. I could hear them talking, low and tense, but couldn't make out what was being said. When she came back, her face was tight and she looked shaken. "What was that about?" I asked. "Not now," she muttered, then forced a smile for the guests. The rest of the evening was uncomfortable. After everyone had gone, I started helping clean up. That's when she pulled me into the kitchen, arms folded. "You need to apologize to Ryan," she said, straight to the point. I almost dropped the stack of plates in my hands. "Come again? You embarrassed him in front of everyone. You should apologize." I set the plates down slowly, trying to stay calm. "Rachel, he was talking down to me the whole time. If anyone owes someone an apology, it's him." She just shook her head. "You don't get it. Ryan doesn't handle conflict well." He felt attacked. And I felt disrespected. I shot back. "Ever think maybe your best friend just doesn't like me all that much?" "That's not true," she said, but her eyes didn't meet mine. "He's just protective." "Protective?" I repeated. "I'm not a danger to you. And even if I was, you're a grown woman who can make her own choices." She shifted uncomfortably. "Look, it's simple," she said. "Either you apologize to Ryan or we're done." I just stared at her, trying to wrap my head around what I just heard. You're giving me an ultimatum? Over a disagreement with your friend? I asked, baffled. That's when she dropped the line that hit me like a brick to the chest. He was here before you, and he means more to me than you do. Her words just hung there in the air, heavy and cold. It wasn't just what she said, it was how she said it. So matter of fact, like it was obvious. Like I should have known all along I was second place. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't argue or plead. I just looked at her for a long second, letting the truth sink in, realizing exactly where I stood in her life. Then I reached for my keys, walked out to my truck, and drove off. She called after me, but I didn't stop, didn't even glance back. By the time I got home, my phone was already lighting up with messages from her. Where did you go? We need to talk about this. You're overreacting. Please come back so we can talk like adults. I powered my phone down and went straight to bed. And strangely, I slept pretty well for a guy whose relationship had just blown up in his face. The next morning, I woke up to a dozen missed calls and even more texts. I read through them but didn't reply. I had work to do and my mind needed the distraction, so I focused on finishing a bathroom remodel I'd been working on. That evening, I came home, flipped on the game, ordered some pizza, and just tried to get back to something that felt normal. By the third day, the phone calls had mostly stopped, but the texts kept coming and they'd taken on a more desperate tone. I wasn't ghosting her to be petty. I just needed space to think. To really sit with what happened and figure out what it meant going forward. That night, I heard a knock at my door. I checked the peephole and there she was, Rachel. Eyes red and puffy, clutching her purse like it was keeping her afloat. I thought about not answering. But that felt cowardly, and say what you will about me, I'm not a coward. So I opened the door but didn't move aside. Can I come in? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I don't think that's such a great idea, I said. Please. I just want to explain. I hesitated, then stepped back and let her in. She sat down on my couch, the same spot we'd curled up together so many times. Where we'd laughed over movies, where she'd dozed off on my shoulder, where we'd made love on slow Sunday afternoons. But now she looked like someone I didn't quite recognize. I'm sorry, she started, her voice trembling. What I said was awful. I know, I said calmly. And what hurts the most is that you meant it. Tears started rolling down her face, leaving streaks through her makeup. I've known him so long. Ryan's like family, she said. I can't lose him. I get that, I told her. But what I don't get is why keeping him has to mean losing me. Why can't it be both? It can be, she said quickly. I was upset. You and Ryan, you're both important to me. I didn't sit beside her. I chose the armchair across the room, needing a little distance. No, I'm not, I said. You made that very clear. And that's okay, Rachel. You have every right to choose who matters most in your life. But I have the same right. And I'm not okay being someone's backup plan. You're not disposable, she cried. I love you. Do you? I asked. Or do you just love how well I fit into your world when Ryan approves? Because the second I shook up that balance, you were ready to throw me out like trash. She didn't say anything. Just sat there silent. Tell me something, I continued. Has he always disliked me? Or did that start once things between us got serious? She looked down at her hands and said quietly, he's worried you'll hurt me. Like my ex did. So he's made himself your full-time protector and you've let him. It's not like that, she said, but even she didn't sound convinced. Isn't it? I pressed. Be honest. Has Ryan ever liked anyone you've dated? Her silence said more than words ever could. I deserve better, I said finally. And so do you, by the way. She looked up confused. Because a real friend doesn't control you with guilt or loyalty. A real friend wants you to be happy even if that means letting someone else into your life. That's when she broke down completely. Said she and Ryan had a massive fight after I left. That the argument forced her to confront things she'd buried for years, uncomfortable truths about their friendship. She told me she wanted another chance with me. That she was willing to work through it. And I'll be honest, part of me wanted to give in. To pull her close and say we'd figure it out. But the bigger part of me, the part that couldn't forget the way she said I was less important, that part held the line. I think we need space, I told her. I need time to figure out if I can be in something where I'll always come in second. And you, I added, need to ask yourself if you're really ready to be in a relationship where you get to make the decisions, not Ryan. She didn't want to leave, but I think she knew I was serious. Before she walked out, she made me promise I'd at least think about giving us another shot. I said I would. And I have been. It's been 5 days. Rachel still texts me every day, not pushing, just checking in. Her sister called yesterday. Said she's been trying to tell Rachel for years that her relationship with Ryan wasn't healthy. And now? Just the fact that she questioned that bond was enough to send Ryan into a full-blown meltdown. Apparently, he's livid that she even considered choosing me. Even though, technically, she hasn't. She told me Ryan never wanted a romantic relationship with her, he just couldn't handle seeing her with anyone else. And apparently, that's been the same pattern with every guy she's dated since college. Everyone in her life has seen it. As for me, I'm torn. There's a part of me that still loves her, that thinks maybe, just maybe, we could work through this. But there's also a part of me that knows old habits don't die easy. She's had 20 years to normalize this twisted version of friendship. Right now, I'm just taking things day by day, trying to find clarity on my own, and reminding myself that I'd rather be alone than spend my life in second place. I'll share more if anything major changes. And if you've made it this far, thanks for sticking with me. Edit. Woke up to hundreds of comments. I'm honestly blown away by the support and thoughtful advice. Let me try to answer a few of the most common questions. 1. No, I don't believe Ryan and Rachel are hooking up. This has never felt like it was about sex. It's about control. 2. Some folks said I abandoned her at the dinner party. Just to be clear, I didn't leave her high and dry. I stayed until after the guests left. She'd already made it crystal clear where I stood in her priorities, so I left quietly. No scene, no drama. 3. Were there red flags I missed? Yeah. Looking back now, absolutely. Ryan texted her constantly even when we were together, and she'd always reply right away. He had opinions on everything, where we ate, what we did, whether I was right for her. There was even this one weekend trip we took. Ryan happened to be in the area, 2 hours from home. He dropped in and stayed for dinner uninvited. 4. To those who think I might be overreacting, I hear you. But I've already been in a relationship where I didn't matter. My marriage. It took years of therapy to rebuild my self-worth after that ended. I'm not going through that again. 5. And just to clarify, no, we never lived together. Rachel has her own place across town. That's why she showed up at my front door that night instead of already being inside. We talked about moving in eventually, but we weren't there yet. Update, 10 days later. Rachel and I met up for coffee yesterday. Neutral Ground, a downtown cafe neither of us usually goes to. She looked tired, but focused. She started talking first. Told me she'd been doing a lot of reflecting since everything went down and had come to some tough realizations about her relationship with Ryan. She said she started seeing the patterns, how he quietly steered her decisions, how he'd stir up conflict whenever she got close to someone else. How he trained her to put his feelings first, even at the expense of her own happiness. Then she showed me some texts he'd sent her after their blow-up. They were loaded with guilt trips, emotional blackmail, and manipulative jabs. Stuff like, you're throwing away 20 years for some contractor? Reading them made my skin crawl. This wasn't friendship. It was emotional hostage-taking. But the most revealing part? She admitted Ryan had always hated every guy she'd dated. Said he had sabotaged several of her past relationships, even gone so far as to share personal, damaging stories with her ex-husband just to create chaos. And she'd always let it slide. Always forgiven him. Always prioritized him. I don't want to live like that anymore, she told me. She'd already reached out to a therapist. First session was booked for next week. I told her I was proud of her for finally recognizing what was going on, but I also reminded her that I had to look out for my well-being too. So we agreed to keep things slow. Casual dates, no pressure. She'd focus on healing. I'd focus on staying grounded. As for Ryan, he shifted tactics. When emotional distance didn't work, he went into full charm mode, showing up at her job with flowers, pretending to be the perfect, selfless friend. Textbook manipulation. But to her credit, Rachel stood her ground. She told him she needed serious space, and that if their friendship was ever going to continue, the entire dynamic had to change. I'm cautiously hopeful. I get why some of you told me to walk away and not look back. I really do. But I've also seen how hard she's fighting to break free from this unhealthy cycle. And that's not nothing. Update, 1 month later. Things have shifted more than I expected. Rachel's stuck with therapy. She's kept her boundaries firm. Ryan, on the other hand, spiraled. First, it was the I miss you texts. Then the guilt trips. Then came the anger. The final straw? He showed up drunk at her apartment, yelling that I had brainwashed her. Demanded to be let in. She called the cops. They escorted him out and she filed for a restraining order the next day. It was brutal but also freeing. She told me it was like finally seeing the entire puzzle, not just the pieces Ryan wanted her to look at. Now, she's been reconnecting with friends she lost touch with during Ryan's rule over her life. Turns out his possessiveness pushed people away for years without her even realizing it. As for me and Rachel, we're dating again. Still slow, still intentional. But it feels different now. Healthier. Realer. I ended up joining Rachel for one of her therapy sessions just to learn how I could support her without crossing any lines. Her therapist compared leaving a codependent relationship to breaking free from a cult. It's a process. Slow and often painful. It takes patience, consistency, and a whole lot of unlearning. Ryan, for his part, didn't fade quietly. He pivoted to a new tactic, trying to turn their mutual friends against her. Thankfully, it didn't go far. Most people had already seen enough of his behavior to form their own opinions. In fact, a few close friends even reached out to Rachel to apologize for not speaking up sooner. That said, not everyone saw it clearly. Some acquaintances bought into his warped version of events and took his side. It's been tough on her, but also eye-opening. She's starting to see who was really in her corner and who never truly was. To make things worse, Ryan started using their professional networks to get to her. They work at different companies, thank God. But that didn't stop him from trying to contact her through her work email. Her HR department stepped in quickly. They logged the incidents, blocked his email domain, and notified front desk security about the restraining order. Rachel handled it all with calm and strength. And I've got to say, I'm proud of how far she's come. Breaking patterns that have been with you for decades? That takes guts. Whether or not our relationship stands the test of time, I can honestly say I'm grateful for what we've both learned. Healthy boundaries. Self-respect. Knowing when something isn't right, even if it's been normal for years. To the folks who told me I should have just apologized to smooth things over, this was never about politics or one bad night. This was about a deeper issue, how she valued our relationship compared to the unhealthy hold Ryan had on her. Sometimes, the only way to break the spell is to walk away. Final update 6 months later. Rachel and I are still together. And things? They're better than ever. She's stuck with therapy and it's helped her uncover even more patterns, not just related to Ryan but others she hadn't seen before. The restraining order has since expired, but Ryan's kept his distance. Apparently, he's still out there trying to rewrite history, telling anyone who'll listen that he was pushed out by some contractor who manipulated her. But most folks aren't buying it, especially the ones who were at that dinner party or saw what happened afterward. Rachel's apologized to me more than once for what she said that night. But I've told her, it's not the words that matter now, it's the actions. And her actions? They've shown me she's serious about building something real with me. Something grounded in mutual respect, balance, and space to be ourselves. Next month, we're moving in together. And this time, it feels right. 6 months ago? I would have said we weren't ready. But now we are. We've had arguments since that night, sure. But they're not the same. We sit down, talk things out like equals. There's no third-party influence. No background noise from someone else's opinion. To the person who said you can't compete with history, you were right. But that's not what this was ever about. History isn't always something worth holding on to. Just because something's familiar doesn't mean it's healthy. Sometimes, the longest relationships in your life are the ones doing the most harm. To everyone who read, commented, or offered advice, thank you. Seriously. You helped more than you know. Standing your ground, knowing your worth, that's what self-respect looks like. And sometimes when you do that, it gives the people around you the courage to do the same.